Yep.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. Today we're doing another Taleb book reflection. This is part 4 of 5 of the book Anti-Fragile, the things that gain from disorder by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. So take it away, Chris.
Yeah, looking forward to part 4 or 5. We've been going through anti-fragile, things that gain from disorder. If you've been following along and listening, you probably got a good handle on maybe what fragile versus anti-fragile is. Yesterday we talked about, like curiosity is anti-fragile. It's things that only have upside, basically, that, when you break them down and you keep, there's no downside to asking a question, right? Like, there's very little fragility and only compounds and gets better and better. So it's things that gain from disorder, right? Well, today I wanted to talk about a thought that popped up during this book that I had. It was called "It is true. If you don't use it, you lose it." So every time I hear this quote, like, have you ever seen the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You remember when Andy, Steve Carell's character, he was at the sexual health doctor he was taking his girlfriend's daughter there for, like, I don't know, she was getting like the pill or something like that. She was there and he asked the lady, "Do you have any questions for me?" And she was asking about, she thought it was his daughter or something like that. And he goes, "Well, yeah, I do have a question. Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it?" And she goes, are you serious? And it's hilarious because he's a 40-year-old virgin and he doesn't know. And he's just like, and he's honestly asking this question. It wasn't like a joke, So and obviously, if you know who Steve Carell is,
But the thing is, she didn't answer, and we're answering for him.
right, right.
We're answering.
Well, so the title is "It is true if you are to believe Nassim Taleb," right? If you don't use it, you lose it. And it made me start to think about human beings as a species are very anti-fragile. We're endurance machines. Our minds and bodies have been fine-tuned to adapt and evolve to all different kinds of circumstances thrown in our path. It doesn't matter where we live, what we eat, like what we do, like, our imaginations, our ability to create new ideas, to communicate, to connect to each other. All these things force us, every time that we get stressed, forces us to adapt, to grow, and to improve. And collectively, I mean, individually, obviously, each one of us are certainly fragile, but collectively, humanity as a collective is pretty anti-fragile. I mean, that's not to say that some meteor couldn't hit the earth tomorrow and it all falls apart and we all die from it, or some catastrophe happens. Like, I'm not saying that we're invulnerable, but we've done a really good job as
I
humans
think we're
of
pretty invulnerable.
I mean, we've definitely done a good job as a species to try to figure out how to stay and how to be anti-fragile. And the thing that is got me thinking about, like this is I mean, after this whole journey, like, I was telling you right before this, I'm on my last 2 reflections before I officially finish, and now, as I get reflective going back on this whole entire thing, we were just talking about the rise and reign of mammals yesterday. And it's one of those things where I've never been more proud to be human in my entire life than I feel right now. And it just gets stronger and stronger as I continue to navigate this world with Amelia. But I'm just damn proud to be a mammal. I'm really proud to be a mammal now. And I'm also damn proud to be a human. And it's really cool to think all the things that we've endured and overcome to get to the state that we are today. But the flip side of all that is we've done such a good job of trying to use all of our stressors that's been thrown at us to adapt and grow that we've made life pretty damn easy for a lot of us. We sit back and we don't do shit. We eat a lot. We don't exercise. We don't ask questions anymore. We don't keep our minds right. We don't communicate with each other, and the truth of the matter is, like, if you don't use it, you do lose it. If you stop asking questions and stop using your imagination and stop stressing your body and stop exercising and stop engaging with the world and stop doing all the stuff that we do that make us anti-fragile, we become pretty damn fragile. And it just, it was something that, like, stuck out to me as I was reading this book and I was thinking through this. And it's like, okay, well, then what do you do? Right? Well, the answer is use your gifts every fucking day. Every day. Go ask a question. Go do something. Go have a conversation with a friend. Go embrace uncertainty. Go take a cold shower. Go, I don't know, do whatever. But don't forget to challenge yourself. Do new stuff. Get outside your comfort zone and use it. Like, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And, like, be a human. I guess it's pretty damn cool. But you got to be a human. It's a verb, right? You can't just sit down and, who wants to just sit around and eat potato chips all day long and veg out on TikTok videos? Like, that's the worst thing that we've done. So anyway, love to get your thoughts. It is true. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Human is the quintessential definition of anti-fragile.
Yes.
And the thing is, you have to understand, in our world, this is a very chaos world. It goes from order to disorder. We are the opposite of that. We are the composers. By definition, because we're in this world, anything that leaves alone is going to disperse.
Right.
You think about anything that you build, right, over time that you left alone, it's going to wither away and disperse into nothing. This is the nature of this world. We, as a human being, it is the opposite. We do opposite of that. The composition of my face is bunch of random molecules put together. The composition of your face, your hair, your ear, your hands, your body, your bones, and the way it works, the way it connects together, it is being composed opposite of the nature of this world. So you think about it, we are the quintessential definition of anti-fragile. And you also think about if the world gets tough, human adapt and become stronger. You think about it, like when in wartime, you got a lot of people band together. I mean, in times of need, we get to be creative. We invent a bunch of things.
Right.
That's what I'm saying is when the world gets tough is when humans are at their best.
When we're stressed,
that's definition of disorder.
Right.
That's the definition. This is what I'm saying is even by a natural existence, we already defying the chaotic world of this universe.
Right.
We already define that. Right. And then the second thing is like when we are even put under more stress, we grow even faster.
It's unreal. I mean,
you look at 9/11. You look at World War I, World War II. You look at the independence, right? The American Independence War, right?
Look at Amelia. I mean, look at me and Amelia and our journey together.
Exactly.
I mean,
so that's what I'm saying is, man, don't take this lightly. But this is in my mind when I understand what anti-fragile is, human. It is the quintessential definition of what an anti-fragile is. Right. Yeah. And so the question is, how are you embracing your humanity? Is that to me, as a human, and all human has this, we have to do something. We cannot do nothing. We have to do something. But because in this world, there's always pros and cons in every single thing. If you have time, you will gravitate toward the things that you are best at, whether that's to play tennis, go fishing, or to, create stuff. Because for me, I don't know why, but I like to create stuff. When I create stuff, it makes me happy, make me feel blessed.
Same here.
I don't yeah. You know what I mean? My composition of DNA needs me to do. So for me, I have to do something, and it's going to be the same for you and for the other guy, the next guy, the next guy. Everybody has to do something. Okay. And so the way to embrace humanity is to let your nature drive you. So what I'm saying is in our life, there is pros and cons. We cannot do nothing, but we can do something that isn't in our nature to kind of like occupy that time. So in today's world, we are occupied because the thing is, for example, you're sick, right?
I was fighting off a sneeze right now. You jinxed it. Yeah. Now it's gone.
But I'm saying is when you have I guess some event that happens to you, your body is trying to compensate that to get back to equilibrium. So you want to say, well, I need to go drink some medicine. I need to go bed. I need to drink a bottle of wine. Right? So you have to compensate for that. So the thing on average, you're going to have to make yourself on a balance scale. So for example, if you say, I feel bad today, I'm going to reward myself. So my feeling is going to be adjusted to equilibrium. If I'm in the middle, right, then I don't need to drink, eat potato chips and watch TikToks. You watch TikToks because you are suppressed during the day or during whatever time. And then when you have any moment, you want to compensate that. Right. So the thing is, this is what I'm saying is, if you ask me, how's my day, right? What's new? I say nothing. There's nothing new. So I can give you an example. Okay. Would you rather eat one bowl of food, whatever food that you like, on a Monday and won't eat that food again? Let's say I eat like a small bowl of food and I eat the same small bowl, same amount every day for 7 days a week. But let's say you eat 7 of those in one day, but nothing the 6 days. So on average, you and I eat the same amount. but you have a huge spike in terms of, okay, I have a lot of food and I have no food. I have a lot of food and I have no food. So whenever you have these spikes, right, you are trying, because whatever the case, you're gonna balance out.
Yeah, it's a pendulum. It swings back
It's a
and forth.
pendulum. It's like somebody
Right.
push you over to the left, you're gonna lean to the right more to
Right.
balance out. So that is how we as a person adapts. So that's what I'm saying is, when for me is, I rather be consistent, because I don't want ups and downs. When you have up, you're gonna go down.
Right.
Right? It is that was it. That's why for me it's like, even though my health is not as good as most people, which is like, my health is very bad in terms of on average, but I don't get sick that much.
Well, you don't have kids that are in cesspool
I
daycare
no,
anymore.
I do. I mean, my
No, no,
kids go to school, but
no,
what
no,
I'm
I know.
saying is,
I'm
I don't
saying
get
they've
sick.
gone through their daycare cesspool, picking up their fingers and licking their faces of their friends, and and yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but you,
they're a little
you
less worse when they're
little
in.
less worse. But the thing is, I don't get sick, and knock on wood, because I believe that if I were to put myself in a more dynamic change, like in a significant change, it costs my body to try to adapt. And when that occurs, it's going to give opportunities for my body to be attacked by different things. If I keep myself balanced for the most part, then yes, there may be some event that may get off of the tilt,
Right.
but for the most part, it's not going to change. So if you ask me today, right, what happened? Oh, nothing happened. That's what I want. I don't want, like, hey, I have this and then you got nothing. Just like, you go to work, right? You make $100,000, okay? Make 100,000 a year. So you say, well, on average, I should make 100,000 a year. So if I make 100,000 a year every year, or I make like $0 for 1 year, and I make $200, the next year, right? On average, you do the same thing. But
Right.
imagine that life. How
Yeah, no,
hectic
it'd be
would
too
that be?
stressful. Yeah.
How heck? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is you're stressing too
Yeah.
much, and
Yeah,
so
but
for
but if
no
you're
no
talking
no
about the
no
stress,
no no. The thing
yeah,
is, the stress in
it's the right
terms
kind of
of
stress for the right
the right
stuff.
kind of stress. This is the wrong kind of stress, because the
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is,
I agree. I mean,
what I'm saying is, like, as a human, we are compelled to do something. If
right.
you are not occupied by the wrong thing, you will gravitate towards the thing that you love to do. Whether that's to be build, like somebody like woodworking, somebody builds
Like
sword,
this.
like a
I mean,
smithing,
let's be
somebody
honest. Like
goes
this
and
is a
and
this is
be.
a stressor.
I mean, but it's not. What I'm saying is that
It's
there's a right stressors and a wrong
it
stressors.
is. Wait, but it is, but it's not. I'm saying, like, this is the right stressor because it pushes us. It gets us out of our comfort zone. Like, I'm sick. Like right now, like, I mean, I would rather go lay down in bed and go to bed early, like, but I also want to have a conversation with you because I
No,
enjoy this, and
this
I'm
is your
okay with.
cake. This is your cake. I mean,
I
it's
know.
not.
So I said that's what I'm saying. It's
I
a,
mean, the thing is,
I,
when you're down, you want to eat your
but
cake, and the more cake you want
it's
to
still a
eat.
stressor. I agree. It's still one of those things where you're like, well, do I do this or do I not do this? Now, if it was
Because the thing
work,
is, if you're healthy, right? If
right?
you're healthy, you still do it. If you're unhealthy, you're like, down under the weather, you still do it. So it's not a stressor, because it doesn't stress you at all. The
Uh,
stressor is something else.
I mean,
This is a
well, that's
stress
fair.
reliever.
I'm trying to.
Is your body is trying to fight the bacteria. That's a stressor, not this. Because I'm saying
Right.
is, when you're healthy, you're still doing this. So it's not stressing you at all.
In any other scenario, if you told me I had to go talk to somebody on a Zoom chat for an hour at 8:30 at night while I'm sick, that would be like, let's just pretend
I
that this
mean,
was
why are you gonna drink your glass of wine?
right. Well,
Right.
what? No,
It's
no,
not a stress if you want
no,
to do it.
no. I
You
know. I
don't
know.
have to do it.
I'm just talking about the scenario of what we're talking about. Like, if you told me right now, like, hey, Chris, I need you to go jump on this work call, because work is a bad word, right? Like, if this is a play
Because you
call,
don't want to
like,
do it.
but this is the same scenario where you said, hey, Chris, go talk to this person for an hour, and one of them is a work call, one of them is a play call. What I'm doing is perceived totally different. And this is what we're talking about. This is what I think you're trying to get to. It's the right stressors, like, it's still a stressor. We're still going out of our comfort zone to go eat the cake, is what we call it, but it's still a stressor. Like, going on a 4 mile
Right. Because the
run
thing
is
is,
still a stressor. My body's still
you
being stressed, but I like it. Like, playing tennis when I'm sick, it's a stressor, but I still like it. It's the right, you got to pick the right stressors in your life that align to where you want to go. Because if you pick the wrong ones, those stressors destroy you. But you pick the right ones, they build you up, right? And that's where the values all come into play with all this stuff. It's interesting to like start to peel back the layers of onions and all those things, because it's all the same stuff. They're all stressors. It's either the right stressor, which we call cake, or the wrong stressor, which you call eating the frog.
Right, because then cake is made of the same materials that anything else. Hey, I like cake. The other one say, I don't like whatever this is. So, for example, somebody say, hey, this is a vanilla cake. This is chocolate cake. Well, you're going to like one cake and doesn't like the other cake. Well, it's made of the same thing. It's just different flavor, right? I'm just saying, like, I have my affinity for this. It's the same material, but for whatever, the thing is, in the terms of doing an activity, whatever it is, as a human, you're going to have to exert energy. You're going to have to spend up some energy to do that. One is called work and one is called play. From an alien perspective, he looks at you and says, hey, this guy's go to work tennis. He went to work tennis when he's still like...
Well, Andre Agassi did go to work tennis, you know.
But I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Andre Agassi. I'm talking about you.
Right.
I mean, you're sick and you went to work tennis. Imagine an alien comes to Earth and he's looking at Chris, right? And he say, this dude, right? He's sick and he still went to work tennis.
Right. You're like, what are you doing?
Think about
man?
it, right? But that's my point. Is that from our perspective, it isn't work, but from the alien perspective, it's the same thing. This guy is using up his energy to do an activity.
When you shouldn't.
And so when you say something is a stressor, something isn't a stressor, well, technically yes, but the word kind of means different.
I know. And actually, this is something that we've stumbled upon so many times, is words like work, addiction, stress. They're good and they're bad, but we only use them in a bad connotation. You know, there's no anti-fragile. You know, that's why Nassim Taleb invented the word anti-fragile, because there is no opposite of fragile. Like, what's the opposite of work? Is it anti-work? What's the opposite of not work?
But I'm not doing nothing.
Right, but not work is not work like that. So it's anti-work. It's work that you want to do, right? What's the opposite of stress? It's anti-stress, but it's stress that you want in your life. You know, what's the opposite of addiction? It's anti-addiction.
It's like a force to the left and a force to the right. It's still a force, but it's a different direction.
Like, that's the weirdest thing.
Left is the anti-left force. I mean, it still has the same. It makes up the same unit of the same element. It's just pointing in different directions.
But isn't that kind of fascinating? We don't have words for.
So it should be anti-stress.
It should
anti-stress,
be anti-work, you know, or like, why do we not have? I had this argument. We were doing the "Why Are You Yelling" thing with my buddies a couple weeks ago, and one of these guys that does this, who's like just a genius. And talk about reading. Like, the guy's read thousands of books in his life. You know, he went to school for philosophy. Like, I mean, this is his bookshelves. When you walk into his house, is just he's got 500 million books that he's like, it's just unreal. And he also has a master's in like clinical psychology. Like, you know, he works in psych wards basically. And he's a nurse. He's not an RN. What do you call the one that's above that? A nurse practitioner. He's a nurse practitioner in a psych ward. So he deals with these crazy people all day long in the DSM, which is the diagnostic manual code. You know what the DSM is?
Not really.
It's the diagnostic statistical manual of mental disorders. So this is like the Bible for psychologists and psychiatrists. This is where they label all of the diagnostic, like, hey, you have ADHD. This is in the DSM. You have this. This is what the criteria looks like. It's like mental health disorders, diagnostically, scientifically documented, that people can chart back on, right? So he looks at everything from the DSM perspective. And we have this argument constantly about addiction, because he's like, no, Chris, addiction means this. I know what addiction is. Like, it is, I see
based
it
on that manual.
I'm like, James, I don't care what the DSM says. My identity isn't wrapped up into this world that you live in. I'm just looking at it from an outside perspective. You can have good addictions. I don't know what that word should be, but like, there are good addictions in this world. Just like there's the
I'm addicted to air.
Exactly.
I'm addicted to air.
But he'll go, that's not what the definition means, Chris. Words matter. And I'm like, yes, words do matter. But it's a cyclical argument that we keep getting into in this debate. It goes back to a lot of the stuff that you and I have talked about, which is like, words do matter. Always be impeccable with your words. We don't have another word, just like we didn't have a word for the opposite of fragile. We don't have another word for the opposite of work. We don't have another word for the opposite of addiction. Like, because we think of addiction, we go, oh, it's a bad addiction. You're a drug addict. You're doing something that's derailing your life. Well, what's a good addiction? That's the compound effect. It's an upward spiral in your life, you know? Like, I mean, we need to like either invent new words or like we need to write a book on anti-addiction, you know, or whatever. Is that what you just do? Is you just take whatever the word is and you call it anti that? I guess that's what Nassim Taleb did, you know, because it's like,
I think is that's better than use a word that people think it means something else. Because
right,
even if you say, "Hey, this is the opposite of that," at least even though they understand the new word, but they say, "Well, it's not fragile, it's not stress, it's not addiction." You know what I mean? Because
right.
they come to understand addiction as this, and so it's hard for them to say, "Well, I understand what you mean when you say a stressor, but good stressor." They're gonna like, "What? What do you mean
Right.
good stressor?"
Well, I mean, because bad stress is like, you know, I mean, today, okay, so like for instance, I had this moment today when I left my job because I'm, you know, I do all my living for two stuff every day with Amelia. Like, you know, I write every day. I do this stuff with you. I'm in a sprint marathon right now, finishing out these last couple books. So I'm already over what I did in terms of Audible wise, what I did for the past few months. And I have 10 more, 12 more, 11 more days to go in the month. You know, I'm really pushing it. If this was a run when I was running at an average 7 mile an hour pace, I mean, I'm at a 5.5 mile an hour pace, sprinting toward the finish line right now. So like I'm still going and I'm going hard, but I left the office today, the metaphorical office, I guess now. I had this moment where I was sitting down and I was just like so exhausted because I did so many things. And a part of me goes, why am I doing all that? I enjoyed it, but I was like, what am I doing? Why did I just do so many things today and exhaust myself further and deplete my resources even further? And for what? Like that was like, you know, I didn't do any coaching today. I didn't do any one-on-ones. I didn't talk about people's values today. It was all, this is like one of my, all the normal bullshit meeting days where it's like leadership meetings and strategic meetings, and numbers and blah, 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 like, you know, whatever. It was just a bunch of bullshit is what it was. And I'm like, what the fuck did I just accomplish today? Like, talk about stressors. I felt disheartened at the end of today because I was like, what am I doing? Like, so what am I doing this for? Like, these are the things that are the bad stressors in life because you're like pushing yourself to beyond the limits of my what I physically should be doing right now. I'm not doing it for anything that I like. Like, I don't mind going to jump into a cold shower and going to do my Wim Hof breathing exercises right now because if anything, it makes me feel a little bit better. I don't mind going on a long run with Amelia as we listen to Bill Bryson and we're in our own little world and you know running in Australia right now with him as he's talking about Melbourne and Adelaide or whatever. Like I don't mind any of these things, right? Like this is good, but it's still a stressor. So I didn't feel great, but I didn't care. I enjoyed the process, you know. And then the other side of it, I'm like, what am I doing? That's the best example I can give you of bad stress versus good stress. I'm still stressing myself, but is it for the right stuff that you want to do it for, or is it the wrong stuff?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Because in our world, we have to do something. But if you do something that isn't what you want, meaning doing the thing you do, which is quote unquote bad stressor, you took that time. There wasn't any time left for you to do the good stressor. So to
Right.
be human, you need to watch out for that because these decoys will suck your time away and eventually you didn't get to do the thing that your mind wants to.
Right.
The key word is minding. You're still doing something because that's human nature. We have to do something, right? Whether we do something we want or we do something we don't want. By default, if you don't choose what you want to do, the society will choose for you. Your
Agreed.
environment will choose for you, and it's not going to fit align. And not going to align with what you want to do. Probability is very low. So that's what I'm saying is to be human. If you want to embrace your humanity, be a human.
Do
When
shit.
you be a human, you watch out for things that gonna occupy your time that isn't fitting with you, who you are, what your nature wants you to do.
Right.
And so that's what I want to warn people. Don't worry about what it is that it's going to be the right fitting for you. Just be in a place where you know what you don't want to do. So when you do something that, hey, this isn't what I'm feeling, right? It doesn't give me the blissful feeling, then do something else. Quit that. Don't continue to do it. Because like I say, people work at a corporate for like 50 years when they got out of school, right? You're 20, 21, 22, whatever, and they work until they're fucking like 70, right? 75. It's like you're working for 50 years, and by the time you finish, it's like, okay, What am I doing now?
What do I do now? I told you about my dad, right? He just retired last year. He's about a year and a half now into his retirement. He was like 6 months in. I went over there one day. It was when our AC went out and I was staying with him. I was like, what are you doing every day, Dad? And he was like, I don't know. Like, what do you want to do? And he goes, I don't know. And I go, what do you mean you don't know? And I was like, what do you like to do, Dad? And he goes, I don't know. And I go, what do you mean you don't know? And I was like, how do you not know? I was like, Dad, I've been your son now for 38 years. I know what you like to do. You like to ride your bike. You like to talk about Led Zeppelin and old rock. You like to play your guitar. You like to go buy random like knives and shit like that and like throw random throwing stars and shit. You like to do your jujitsu, you like to do woodworking stuff. You do a lot of things, Dad. Like you do a lot of things that my dad loves to do. But when he thinks of all those things that he loves to do, and then puts that up to what he did for his career, which I think he did like to do that. He was a sales engineer and he has an engineering mindset. But either way, when he thinks of what he likes to do versus what he did for his career, like I just don't think it doesn't compute to him that I can do whatever I want to do now, and I can do it all day long. I don't have to like. There's no rules. Like so for him, he's like, well, this isn't like one specific thing that I'm doing every single day that I like have to do. I don't know. It's like he just can't compute. In his head. And he still struggles with it right now. Now he just like does like a hodgepodge grab bag of a bunch of stuff every day that's kind of all helter skelter, but I think he's trying to figure it out. He's reading more. He talks to me about more and more books every day. He uses my Audible account all the time, and he like and he every time I go over there, I feel like he ends up bringing up the history of the world in 6 classes. He loves reading books. Anyway, so it's.
I want to stop you there because it's very interesting. Because as humans concerned, right? Like I said this before, we are a collection of stories. When you talk to anyone who is in their like your dad's age or your grandma's age, right? There's a lot of wisdom, but it's all come from the stories, and they love to talk about the story. Go talk to your grandma. Go talk to your dad. He's gonna talk about story. It's all about the history because that is what it is. As far as humans concerned, we are a collection of our memories. Is a collection of stories. So history and all this is what makes you you.
Agreed.
So that's what I'm saying is, when you get to the point where you are your dad's age, how many stories do you have?
Oh, I mean, Jesus Christ,
figuratively speaking to the audience, say if you get to that point, what stories do you have? The thing is, the story isn't like, hey, I went into this battlefield and I was on, this whatever. No, it's hey, I built this, I built that, whatever that makes you like alive. That's a story you're gonna tell. I mean, people tell the story that hey, I went fishing and I caught this fish, I caught that fish. Well, that's what they like to talk about because that's who they are. Because it isn't about a story of some heroic battle from the medieval and becoming the great knight, blah blah. This is nonsense. Everybody has their own story, and it's very common, like the Tuesday with Morrie kind of story. Like this is what I do. I grew this, I built this garden, I raised these birds, I collect these knives, I collect this sword, the history of the sword and where the sword comes from. This sword is actually from there, went here, blah blah, right? This is what that's who we are. It's not about like, hey, the story that if anyone has a story, it's about some kind of this movie-esque type of story where there's a plot, there's a twist, and anything like that. No, it's just basically this is who I am. I go fishing, I make pasta, I make curry, I make kimchi, I make soy sauce, and whatever the case. It's still fascinating because once you hear a story from a person who have their soul in the game, it is very, very engaging and very riveting to us. Regardless, I can tell you about the story with this sriracha sauce, right? The guy who is Vietnamese, he comes from Vietnam.
Oh, no, that was Vietnamese.
Right? He's Vietnamese, right? The name Phong is actually a Chinese word because he went on the Chinese ship, the carrier, it carries that stuff, right? So he immigrated to the U.S. via that ship because the ship saved his life and carried him over. That's why he named the company Phong because but he's Vietnamese.
Is that the name of the ship? Oh, nice.
Right. So eventually he has this. He grows chili, and the way he becomes interested, he went to different restaurants and he would ask because he loves like spice. So he's keep asking for different sauce. Nobody give him the right sauce, and he actually started making his own at the store, trying to figure out to put a bunch of stuff together. And eventually, he brings his own sauce to the restaurant every time he goes to the full restaurant. And eventually, he grows into the $1 billion company. But it's very interesting when you hear him talk,
That's cool.
because that's his entire life. But you think about it, how is that a story-esque movie where you say, hey, this plot, this twist, and this dramatic, blah, blah. Honestly, we don't really care about that. We just care about, okay, how is this person? Because you look at the person, you look at him and how he's turned and the commitment and conviction he has. That is what engages you to listen to him. It isn't the narrative of the story itself. So you can be very engaging and be mesmerized by what your grandma tells you about her life. And her life could be like Tuesday with Maury. It's kind of story. And it's still riveting to you. That's what I'm saying is so that's what I'm saying is, to the question to the audience is, if you are at in an age of 70, what kind of stories that you tell that hey, this is stories that I could tell over and over and over again. Because the thing is, whatever it is, if you like tennis, then you don't mind talking about the tennis and the lessons you've learned and all that stuff. If you like fishing, you don't mind telling the fishing story over and over again. You never get tired of it. But if it's something you don't want to do, I guarantee you tell one time, 2 times, you're gonna hate your own fucking story.
Dude, it is so funny you say that, because like my grandmother's, I'm doing that grandma diaries project every Sunday. I'm calling it the grandma diaries. Yeah,
well, it sounds good. That's right.
They've been through so many. Talk about stressors and living, right? Like they've been through so many things that like when it's fascinating to see that because as you get older, you get more anti-fragile, right? You gain from the disorder and the chaos that life has presented to you and the lessons you accrue along the way, right? And it is really fascinating to really like talk to older people and to let them dive in, like you were saying. But on the flip side of that, like when you're not doing what you like to do. So today, one of my really close friends reached out about a week ago, and he was like, hey, can you come meet with my CEO of my company to pick your brain about the Salesforce ecosystem and partnerships and things like that? So I was like, sure, always happy to help. This is one of my closest friends. And I'm like, yeah, of course, I'll jump on a call with him. So we had this call today, and I found myself talking to this guy about, it almost was an out of body experience because he was asking me questions and I was giving him really intelligent answers very quickly, talked lingo, said everything the right way, gave him good insights. And it was almost like I zoned out, like my elephant just took over. And I had this moment afterwards where I thought to myself, man, if I was my friend, because my friend didn't say much because it was like, he was really just kind of setting up a conversation for me to connect with this other guy. And I know that I could see kind of in his face, him going, whoa, man, I didn't know Chris really knew that shit that much, And as I got off the call, though, I don't give a fuck about any of that. And yes, I can talk intelligently about it. I can tell you all the lessons and wisdoms that I learned from all the stressors that I've been in this industry or this job or whatever, but there's no soul in the game when it comes to that kind of stuff. And it just sucks because it's almost like you can become like Andre Agassi. You can become really, really, really good at something and hate it. Like, bring it on. If you do this on a tennis court, I'm going to do this, 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 this. But I fucking hate it. Like, oh, you do this on a tennis court, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and this. But I fucking hate it. It's like, it like blows my mind. Like, and I'm like, it's crazy how good we can get at shit that we hate, and it doesn't blow your mind a little bit. Like, talk about wisdom accrued. Like, if you're going to accrue wisdom.
Yeah, you can be really good at what you hate.
Right.
I mean, it's just about, you train your elephant.
Yes.
Your elephant does exactly what you want to do. It's just a matter of if you think about a topic 10 times versus 1,000 times, which one are you more intelligent in? Your elephant's gonna be more intelligent in whatever. You repeat something 1,000 times, the elephant's gonna say, well, this is what I need to learn. And so the elephant's gonna do what it does, but you may hate it. You may hate the stuff.
Don't do that.
That's what I'm saying is you pick up something and you don't feel like it is giving you the positive bliss that you want. Go find something else because that's not worth your time.
Agreed. Like, I mean, I was kind of impressed with the stuff that I was saying because it was just so effortless, And I was like, fuck, I really do know what I'm talking about. Like, and I'm like, like, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't want to know what I'm talking about.
Eventually you're going to be disgusted by your own stories,
I
It's
agree.
just
I don't want to tell this story. I don't want Luca to wake up one day and, Chris wrote a story about how his dad knows how to talk about how to sell software. Like, and you're like, what the fuck? I don't care. Like, if my father came and told me, like, Chris, this is how you be a great sales engineer for a manufacturing company, I would go, like, Dad, I don't give a fuck. Let's go play baseball or something like that together. Or let's go do the other stuff you like to do together. Show me things you actually care about. I guess if he really cared about it, maybe I would care about it too. If he was like a doctor and he really cared about his patients, maybe I would care. I would tell Luca this and Amelia this every day of my life. I don't care about my job. Other people say you have an important job and an important role in an important place, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't like it. It is just a job, and I don't want to be there. If anything, I would do anything in my life to not be there. But the only reason that I am at this particular place at this particular time in my life is because I'm doing the thing that I really want to talk to you about, Luca and Amelia, is the fun shit that we do that I've been experimenting on while I'm in this place because I hope to get to this place someday. And they're gonna go, well, that has nothing to do with your job, and I'm gonna be like, exactly, like it's I don't
I mean,
don't
I mean,
yeah.
the thing is, everybody. I mean, we have so many variety of different, I guess, type of people on Earth, right? Because like you look at it, like there's some people who lives in a city that has no access to growing anything, like any plants, any vegetables, want to go grow vegetables, and that's all they do, and that's all they talk about, and they love to talk about it, right? And there's the people who are in a farm, right? That's what they do, and they hate it. They want to go to the city and sit in a desk and just sit and be in a cubicle. Okay, so the thing is, it's force fitting because there are certain people you force them to do a thing because all you have to do is swap.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing is, like for example, like you talk about, let's say we have like pizza. I don't know, it's not a good example, but just humor me for a bit. We have a pizza. Some people like to eat the crust, and some people don't. Just give the crust to people who want to eat the crust, and give the one. You know what I mean?
Who doesn't like to eat the crust of a pizza?
Some people don't.
Who? You show me who. Is this a black swan? Like, who doesn't eat a crust of a pizza?
I mean, I've seen a lot of pizza boxes where the crust was still put in.
What if you gave them like marinara to dip it in? Would they change that? Is it just because there's no sauce?
No. I don't think so.
Right.
Pepperoni pizza, they don't eat the pepperoni.
Oh God.
I love pepperoni.
They're not.
So I eat the pepperoni. And so in this scenario, you just
cut it.
whatever it fits you, you just trade it. That's what I'm saying is, in our society today, we force fit it. Like you maybe like for you, hey, there's certain thing you want to do, right?
Let's do it.
They make you do a sales job or a different job that has to have meetings or whatever. But somebody else wants to do that. Some people love to do taxes. Some people love to do math. Some people love to do statistics. Or I mean, they do that naturally. Whether you ask them to do, I mean, basically you pay them to do it or not, they still do it. I mean, still they do it at home, right? And so I'm saying is these people has this job. Like people, for example, people love to draw and design. I hate that. Right? So I don't do design. Let someone else like to do design. So don't force me to go design my own app, right? Let me code, you design. So this is called the right fitting. But in society, we don't have the separations of duties like we have today, because most people say, well, you should be either, a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or, a management, right? So that's basically the kind of like division. But in this division, it's so generic, right? Because even in management, it's generic. Because even in teaching, there's certain type of teaching. There's a Montessori type teaching. There's more traditional teaching. There's more creative teaching, and there's a certain type of teaching that certain subjects that you want to teach, and there's certain segment of the subject, whether it's math, but you say, I don't want that math, I want application math, applied math versus elemental math, or like a more scientific math or whatever. There's so many divisions that you can go smaller and more like specific into, but we don't. We say, hey, since you're math, you should do this. So for example, people say, hey, I'm in computers, but in computers there's thousands of subdivisions, because like for example, for me it's I'm in computer, because if I tell them I'm a software programmer, that's still large. I'm not a software programmer. I'm only this programmer with this technology, with this type of project, with this kind of line of business, right? So it's so narrow. But for example, I think my uncle-in-law one time get mad at me because I couldn't fix it, right? Because thing is, I'm in computer, and he thinks
you just know hardware and you can fix it all.
I'm in IT, so
right.
So I say, hey, I don't know how to fix your printer. He basically thinks that I'm just, blow him off, say, hey, I don't know how to fix it. But,
Yeah.
he expects me to say, hey, I know. But that's the
Right.
thing, because, it's so much division. So, even for Snow, the way he teaches, he likes to
Right.
be philosophy teaching, and kind of instill his philosophy onto his young students. But the teaching that he's doing today isn't fitting in what the way he wants to do it. And so there's a lot of different ways people need to define a specific niche of whatever that they want to do, right? Even though say, hey, I'm in sales, but they depend on what kind of sales. You can say, hey, I can sell secrets. Is that sales? It's still sales, but it isn't it's going to go against your other core values. So it's
Right.
not a right fit, even though it's still sell. I can sell
Right.
secrets, and I can sell like, junk stuff to kids, or I can sell like some promise or some dream that isn't there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm saying is, even though in the sense of sales, or in the sense of whatever that you do, there's still division of it that may fit or may not fit. Right. So
Yeah.
we have to find the specific niche that is aligned to who we're supposed to be, or by aligned to our nature. If
Right.
we understand what
Find,
that word.
find the right stressors is really what it is. Like, and the things and we call that eating the cake. I mean, that's like, I mean,
Anti-stressor.
anti-stressor. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is. The eating the cake is anti-stress, All right. So I think that's a good place to pause for the night. This made me pick my energy levels up, because I was dragging ass earlier. I had to go take a nap at like 5 o'clock or whatever, because I was like, oh my God, I can't even make it past, I'm so exhausted from all the actual stressors of the day. This is anti-stress. Now I have energy. Now I'll probably go downstairs and talk my wife's ear off for 20 minutes while she's trying to work and get stuff done. And and she's gonna be like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. God damn it. I got stuff to do. So anyway, but no, what I love most about like this is my final thought, and then I'll give you your final thought and we'll part for the night. But this is what I love about this whole entire process is exploring these topics more and more further. Cause like I remembered Anti-Fragile, but like I don't remember Anti-Fragile. But now I'm going to remember this conversation, and I'll remember the stuff that we talked about yesterday about curiosity, about humanity, about all these other things. Like I will remember it, whether it's like fully, baked into here or not yet. Like it's a lot more baked into here than it was before, And besides that, it's fun just talking about it. Like it's fun to exploring these things further and further and further. They're just because it aligns to what we care about, but it's fun to talk to you about it. So it's like, that's why I love this journey. It's just fun to think about.
Anti-stressors.
It's anti-stressors. Yeah. So here, I got to write that one down as a true. Let's see here. Where's your truisms? Oh, there it is. Anti-stressor. So is that equals eat the cake?
Yeah.
All right. I like that. All right. Anti-stressor. I like it. And that's another truism. There we go. I think that's we're building our How to Train Your Elephant book,
Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right. Any final thoughts?
Final thought is, use your gifts, because if you don't, it's a waste.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
It's a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. And the question we can leave you all with: are you embracing your humanity? And if you're not, you'll lose it. It's a guarantee.
It's a waste.
Yeah, it's a waste.
I mean, if you don't embrace your humanity, it's a waste. You think about it. You just waste. It's a big waste.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, thanks for joining, and we'll see you all Monday.
See ya.